Am I the a-hole for letting my fiancé stay at my place? For context, we like the context. I'm a uni student who's living with my mom until I finish uni. My sister and her boyfriend also lives with us. So, to start off, me and my fiancé are semi-long distance. She lives 3.5 hours away, but visits often. I invited her over on Halloween and she came up. She pays for her train tickets and other travelling costs to see me, so she's not taking money off me or my family to be here. We've decided to not see each other over December, as we'll be spending time with our own families for Christmas. But we have arranged to meet again in January. Due to this, my fiancé has stayed for a month with my mom's permission, allowing us to spend as much time together before December comes. Yeah, that seems reasonable, especially if your mom doesn't have any problem with that whatsoever. I don't understand why that would be a problem, but let's keep reading. Recently, however, my sister and her boyfriend have started to have an issue with my fiancé being here. Reasons for this are, and here comes the list. My sister's boyfriend is uncomfortable with my fiancé wearing shorts, which my fiancé has now stopped doing after first mention. Why do you have a problem with her wearing shorts? Are you dirty-minded? You know, there is always an option to not look. And, that's the second bullet point, my fiancé doesn't pay anything towards being here. Come on, they are long distance, so they hardly see each other, that's one, and they're not going to see each other for a whole month in December. She always pays for her trains, she always pays to just get to see her partner, so why is such a big problem for her to stay a month so they can make up for the time when they're not spending time together, especially when it's a very much a family thing, like Christmas and potentially Thanksgiving. I don't know if you mentioned Thanksgiving, but it's a Halloween here, right? Yeah, people are being sometimes unreasonable. By the way, if you're hearing some weird noises coming through, I've changed microphones and it's quite sensitive, this one, and I'm not so good with editing, so I might not be able to get rid of it, but hopefully it will not come up in a recording. And also, if you came back and you haven't subscribed yet, or you're new and haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and like this video, because I really need all the help you can provide to get this video out there and being visible to more people who are like-minded and like Reddit stories. Back to the story. My fiancée pays for her own food 90% of the time, along with mine. Oh, so she not only pays for her food, she also pays for yours when she's with you at your place. And will be paying rent money when I send mine over to my mom when rent is due. Hang on a minute, am I reading this right? Why would she pay the rent money? I'm quite confused. I must have read it right. Maybe we'll clarify later. My sister's boyfriend, however, was moved into the house without permission just over a year ago, and everybody was fine with it. He pays less rent than what they're asking my fiancé to pay, which isn't fair on her. People have sometimes some expectations, or just simply audacity, don't they? My sister has also told my fiancé a completely different reason as to why she's being off with her. The reasons listed above are what I've been told, whereas my fiancé was told that it's just because she's ill. That was told by his sister to his fiancé. You can't be even honest about that, right? You can't even be honest and admit why you're unhappy. Why people always being so shady about stuff like that? I just will really not understand. This always confuses me. My family have asked her to leave every day over the last week due to my sister and her boyfriend's discomfort. Oh, such a discomfort. What discomfort, mate. Oh. But as I've said, she pays for her own stuff and also stays out of their way from everyone else within the house and isn't disturbing them in any way. My fiancé is due to leave tomorrow as it's our anniversary and we want to spend the day together. Am I the a-hole for not asking my fiancé to leave when she's not done any wrong? Oh, you know what? So if it comes really from your family, so it's not only your sister and her boyfriend who were asking, but it was also your mother who was doing this, because I don't know if I didn't catch the drift, but it seems like it's just your mother, your sister and her boyfriend. If it wasn't coming from her, I wouldn't feel bad about it whatsoever. Unless your mom changed her mind, then yes, I would probably go with what she asked. But saying that, have in mind that I would have very serious conversation with your own mother about the whole situation and asking why there is some favoritism going on, because the boyfriend lives here. It's not like your girlfriend or fiancé permanently moved in. So why is such an issue? I just struggle with that. And I struggle with imbalance or unfairness in a family like this, to be fair. So for me, you're not at the a-hole, but I always like to see what people in comments say. Oh my god, there are no comments! Oh, only because this story was posted 10 minutes ago. While I'm filming it, and then I'm filming it on the 29th of November 2025. So yeah, this is my opinion. I'm not even gonna try to attempt your nickname. I'm gonna have it up if by any chance you ever watch this video. I don't think you are an a-hole whatsoever. If that didn't come from your mom or your parents, sorry if I missed the fact if your dad was there or not. But if she did, yes, you would be tiny little a-hole, but also everybody else in that story apart your fiancé would have been, because it's not her fault. That was agreed at first and the offer and hospitality was taken away, so I find it a little bit of a faux pas. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so let's move on to another story. So here we've got another story that is very fresh, literally posted just 3 minutes ago, but it seems like there are already 2 comments, so it can be quite heated story. So, and I see in one of the comments that it says it's fake and they've reported it already. It is quite long, to be fair, so let's have a look. I don't know if it's fake. I haven't read it yet, but I still want to read it, even if it's fake. Tough. It's for entertainment, isn't it? So, am I the a-hole for wanting to end my 3-year relationship over Christmas decor? So, let's see. Is your partner a bit excessive and Christmas crazy as soon as December hits? Hi. Please excuse my grammatical error. English is my second language. So, same here, it's not my first language, so you are excused. I, 26 female, and let's call him Ron, 31 male, have been together for about 3 years. I was very young when I first met him, and my beliefs were different back then. I had just moved to Canada, and since he was from here, everything felt new, exciting, and interesting to me. We stayed together even though our relationship had a rocky start. We moved in together in 2024 and then moved again to another place in the same city in 2025. Lately, things haven't been going very well. There are things he did in the past that still upset me, but I'm trying to move forward. Maybe it's because his apologies never felt genuine or didn't make up for what's happened. Or maybe because some of the behaviors haven't fully changed. I try to be fair, since I'm not perfect either, and I also come from a very toxic childhood and father. Okay, so I'm reading from this paragraph that you had a rocky start. Yes, a rocky start. And that really was persistent throughout your relationship, that it seems like there was some problem with accountability on your partner's part. But you didn't want to go and jump into conclusions too quickly because you yourself come from a very toxic family. And you had toxic childhood, so you want to tread carefully to not put everybody in the same bucket. I also come from toxic family, and I can tell you that by you being extra understanding and trying to give it extra shot, it probably comes not from the fact that you are being judgmental or jumping to conclusions, but more likely you were taught to forgive such a behavior and accept that. So let's carry on. I try not to let my past experiences affect my current decisions, and that's why I'm here, to understand this better and hear a different perspective. Yeah, pretty much summed up what I just said without reading. Yeah. I'm not from Canada, and back home we only celebrated festivals from our own religion, so this year I wanted to create my first real Christmas tree. We did one last year, but it was Ron's parents, and I had to set it up just a few hours before they came home for Christmas Eve. It didn't feel memorable or meaningful, so this time I wanted to plan everything in advance and create a tradition that felt special to us. No, that's very sweet, to be fair. It's very, very sweet. You're trying to actually create something long-lasting for your relationship, for your future, as you said. Start a little tradition just for you two. Throughout the whole process, I was extremely excited. Honestly, more excited than I've been about anything in a long time. I even felt like I might have found a new hobby related to flowers and designing. I kept sharing everything with Ron because I didn't want this to be something I did alone. I wanted it to be something we created together so that it could become a tradition and a memory for us as a couple. Ah, again, I'm probably going to be arving a lot. This is very sweet. It's so thoughtful of you, really, it is. I sent him inspiration pictures, and sometimes I made my own designs to show him what kind of flowers, colours and arrangements I imagined. I ordered some supplies we would need, and since we have birds, I made sure all the flowers were safe and non-toxic for them. Again, it's so thoughtful. To me, this wasn't just decoration. It was my first time celebrating Christmas in a way that felt personal. It was something I wanted to build with him, something warm, intentional and meaningful. As all the planning continued, I was also preparing the rest of the Christmas decoration for the house. A week before we were supposed to buy the flowers, we visited a wholesaler just to get an idea of the prices and the quality and to see whether this was something we could actually afford. So yeah, you're going full steam ahead with this. That first visit went well. We went early in the morning, checked everything out, then went to work. We didn't really talk about it afterward, but I felt like a positive start. I told him I would begin planning more details and that the next time we went, we could finalise what to buy and how much of everything we'd need. Oh, I'm not a massive Christmas person. It sounds very alien to me, but I've got appreciation how much work you're putting into this. The day before our planned visit to actually buy the flowers, it was a Friday. I had created 2 different theme ideas and sent him the designs, hoping to understand what he would like as well, because this wasn't supposed to be just about me. He picked the theme that I didn't really love. I preferred the other one, but I accepted it because the point was for both of us to be involved. Very good. He came home that Friday night, but instead of talking to me or discussing anything about the tree, he just said hi, went straight to the bedroom and spent about an hour on the phone with his mum. There was also another chore he said he would take care of that he didn't do. He didn't really speak to me for the rest of the evening and I felt ignored. I got frustrated, poured a glass of wine and watched a movie by myself to calm down. I didn't want to keep chasing him for attention or involvement in something that was supposed to be a shared experience. Later, we did talk and ate together, and I told him we really needed to plan things before going in the morning because otherwise it wouldn't work. He brushed it off and said he wanted to sleep and that we'd discuss it the next day. So clearly he doesn't seem to be very interested in the whole process. Maybe it just started to be too overwhelming to him because I think you've said you've been together for 3 years and you never gone overboard with Christmas preparation. The next morning, he woke me up at 6 a.m. and we started getting ready. The store closes super early in the weekend, so we needed to be there by 11. The whole time, he didn't say anything. He was working out and doing his own routine while I was getting dressed. Even then, we didn't talk about the plan. On the drive, we ended up discussing how he interacts with my bird because I wanted him to be gentle, and we disagreed at first but eventually came to some understanding. But the car ride was short, so we didn't have time to talk about the Christmas plan at all. Why is he being nasty to the bird? Why is a bird getting the fallout of whatever mood he's in? When we got to the store, I started asking questions about the pricing because their website and their in-person rules were different. I wanted to understand the minimum purchase requirements. I also had a main flower in mind that I really loved, but it wasn't in season, so they didn't have it. That disappointed me because it meant rethinking the whole design and making sure any new flowers were safe for our birds. I had a few filler options in mind, but I needed to see how everything looked together in person because I'm not a florist. I don't have experience arranging flowers from scratch, and this was only the first or second time I was seeing these particular flowers in real life. So I was taking my time, comparing colours and textures, trying to bring the idea I had pictured to life. I asked him for his opinion on certain combinations, big bunch or small bunch, filler A or filler B, and he answered briefly at first. But as I kept exploring options, he drifted off to the corner of the store and ended up scrolling on his phone, completely disconnected. I brought another flower over to ask his opinion, and he said, "I don't know." I asked again, hoping for something more, because I wanted this to be a joint effort, but instead of engaging, he said, "Let's go to the car and talk." I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't sound very exciting, to be fair, at least for me. So I think I know where he might be coming from, but I feel very nasty now saying this. Sorry, OP. The way he said it felt strange, almost like when a parent says it right before a reprimand. That alone made me uneasy, but I followed him. In the car, he started telling me that I was confusing, that I kept changing my mind, that I wanted too many different things, and that I wasn't sticking to the plan. The problem was, there was no plan. He hadn't been involved in making one, even though I kept trying to include him. Well, he was quite included, at the very beginning at least. I explained that since I was not a florist, I needed to see things in person to understand what worked together. I wasn't randomly changing ideas. I was trying to make informed decisions. Meanwhile, he hadn't taken part in any of the preparation, so most of what I was doing was new to him. The argument escalated. My eyes kept watering. Not crying in a loud emotional sense, but more like my body reacting to stress and frustration. Then he said we didn't know the budget and asked why we were even there. I told him I had a rough budget and that I could go up to around 300. He reacted strongly, asking who was supposed to pay for that. I reminded him we have a shared account for household expenses and that this was supposed to be a joint project, but he said that amount was too much and that he only expected to spend around 100, which didn't make sense for a 7-foot tree covered in flowers from a wholesaler. Even basic roses would exceed that. it is a guy. He doesn't understand and know the prices of tree and plants. I don't think I would know them. $300 is quite a bit to spend, but again, it's just my personal opinion. It is a little bit sad that he would engage with you before and only now he makes his opinion known. If he actually sat down with you and discussed it, at least he would have known how much you were planning on spending to agree or disagree with you on the budget and maybe adjust the payment, and then with that the whole plan of what actually would have gone to those onto this tree. In that moment, it felt like the reality of the effort, cost and planning hit him only after we got there, and instead of dealing with it calmly, he pulled away. And the way he pulled away reminded me of something from my past, specifically my father. What did I tell you? Don't we choose partners that remind us of our toxic parents? Whenever my mom was excited about something, he would find a way to ruin the moment so that she would regret ever looking forward to it. I remembered one trip from my childhood. Right before we were supposed to leave, he started a huge argument, left her behind crying, and took me with him. I hated that memory deeply, and standing there in the parking lot with Ron, it felt uncomfortably similar. He said very hurtful things, and so did I, but the point is, I'm not perfect and not a pro, and how is me trying to consider all my options a problem? This has been a problem when we picked a wallpaper as well as when I wanted to check a few other online stores. I do this only when I don't have a clear picture of what I want and have options to explore. Okay, so there's a few things to unpack here, in my opinion. So yes, I can see how this memory was triggering. And it doesn't mean that Ron is specifically as bad as your dad. That maybe one specific behavior is reminding you of your dad, or the worst case scenario, as I mentioned before, you might be making that mistake and actually getting into a relationship with somebody unconsciously who reminds you of your own dad, because it's a familiar thing and you know how to deal with it, although it's very emotionally taxing. Believe me, I know, I've been there. I'm not there anymore. I'm quite happy in my relationship right now, but I'm closer to my 40s right now, and believe me, I've been through lots of relationships that felt like this. But I also understand where you're coming from in terms of trying not to dismiss him, dismiss your partner, in worry that you're projecting all that trauma you had on him only because of that one specific behavior. The real question here is to understand if it's just that one toxic trait you're not happy with, or is it more to it? And from his point of view, I know I am a person who is seeking validation. Again, I'm coming from my point of view because that's the best way I can empathize and sympathize with you, and lots of those things ring the bell. They sound familiar, because you may be seeking that validation. You are bombarding him with lots of options and constantly asking him for their opinion, where that choice for him may be overwhelming. Because he doesn't like to make such choices. If he can go for the simplest option, then he will go for it. He might be just simply overwhelmed with the weight of the decision that you're expecting to make, him to make. Could be lots of things. I've got friends who try to go and avoid making very complicated decisions on something that they perceive very simple thing like a Christmas tree, but not for you, because you are putting so much soul into this, because you want to make something special just for you two. You automatically making it quite a big deal, because it is a big deal. The problem is that maybe he doesn't see it as such. And yes, and I see that was also the case when you were picking up the wallpapers in the past. But yeah, that might be just something that simply doesn't interest him, and he would much more prefer for you to take care of. Again, is it something that you want? Do you want a partner who's more involved or not? Okay, let's move on. It made me wonder whether I was mixing up my past trauma with the present, or whether I was seeing a pattern I shouldn't ignore. Yeah, this is exactly what I said. At least you're quite self-aware asking yourself those questions right now. I've been questioning for a while now whether this relationship is right for me, but I always tell myself maybe I'm just moody or hormonal, especially since I've been dealing with some health issues. I don't have many friends here, so sometimes I feel unsure and isolated. Why not going to therapy? I think it will be quite a slogan throughout my videos here. But if you're unsure and you want somebody to validate and help you to understand the reality you live in and what's healthy and what's not, because you've never been given this and it's massive trial and error and everything seems confusing, it's worth to go and have a therapy, maybe. Somebody you can talk to. Either maybe both of you if he's willing. Because I could answer that question for you. I'm not there. I don't see his behaviours and it's hard to tell. But yeah, you're on the right path. You're asking yourself very, very important questions. I genuinely don't know if I'm overacting or if this situation is showing me that might not be the right person for me. I'm trying to understand my emotions, my trauma, and what is actually happening in the relationship. And I could really use an outside perspective. Yeah, so I think I don't have much more to add to what I already said. I bid you good luck. I hope you come to some conclusions or make some right decision for yourself. Yeah, so good luck to you. And we'll see if maybe in the future there will be more comments in the story if it doesn't get removed. Oh, yeah, a verdict. You're not the a-hole. I don't think you're in the a-hole. You're asking the right questions. You're not the a-hole that you're considering it. You haven't made your decision yet, so I can't judge you for this yet. But even if you'd broken up, I still don't think you would have been an a-hole, because you don't really need the reason to break up with somebody. Yeah, good luck.